What I can tell you is that all the guidelines were observed, continue to be observed, and what I can also tell you is that we're getting on with the job, as we have been throughout, of dealing with the priorities of the people, particularly fighting crime.
So was it a party where the guidelines were followed, or was it not a party?
I can tell you that the guidelines were followed at all times.
Well, did you investigate that yourself? Have you satisfied yourself?
I have satisfied myself that the guidelines were followed at all times. And what Cabinet Secretary will conduct an inquiry into into what took place on December the 18th. As for other events other dates that you mentioned, as far as I'm aware, to the best of my knowledge, and we have followed the rules throughout, and that is what you would expect. Indeed, we followed the rules, as far as I'm aware. The rules were followed on December the 18th as well.
I mean, Prime Minister, there is a trust issue here. You're asking people to be cautious. They see the picture of you sitting in the Downing Street garden, drinking wine, eating cheese, at a time when, you know, those were not within the rules. They don't buy that it's a work meeting. There are people on Twitter who say they had funerals of loved ones in the same week, and they couldn't have that many people at their funerals. Do you understand why people are angry and why they might be less likely to do what you say?
Those were people at work talking about work.
So you were having a work meeting there without laptops, without any notes or paper. Do you normally have wine and cheese at a
Those were people at work. Those were meetings of people at work talking about, this is where I live and it's where I work. Those were meetings of people at work talking about work. And I really think it's vital that we focus.
Just to be clear then, you're saying that Dominic Cummings is lying and his version of events is not true?
I just repeat, I'm deeply sorry for mistakes that were made.
Are you saying that he's lying and his version of events? It's very important. Viewers will want to know, the public will want to know, MPs will want to know.
Of course.
He's on the record saying under oath, you are lying, that you were warned about this event and you went ahead anyway, that you knew.
I can tell you categorically that nobody told me, and nobody said that this was something that was against the rules, that was a breach of the COVID rules, or we were doing something that wasn't a work event, because frankly I don't think, I can't imagine why on earth it would have gone ahead or why it would have been allowed.
First, you said in the House of Commons that all guidance was followed completely in number 10 direct quote. Yeah. Do you now accept that you misled Parliament, given that there are now 50 members of staff being investigated by the police?
Look, Beth, I'm going to have plenty to say about all that when the process is complete. And
we help clarify something, because some of it I find very difficult to understand, because first you said there was no rule breaking. That was right, yeah. Then you claimed you weren't aware of any of these parties. Then you said it was a work meeting. Then you said you were outraged by them. Then you said you were aware of these events, but they weren't against the rules. And finally you admitted you were at these events, but you were so ignorant of the rules, you didn't realise you were breaking them. You do understand why the public has such difficulty with all this?
Yeah, of course, Pete. But and you know, I don't want to, and I understand why you're asking the questions. But I just want to repeat that there will come a point when I will be able to talk about the investigation and the conclusions of the investigation. And that is when the investigation has concluded, and I've no doubt at all that I will be back before this committee, back before the House of Commons to talk about it. But at the moment, it's still going on.